I don't have much for comments tonight, other than the fact that I hope everybody's organized, because we do have another appointment at 8 o'clock that we're to attend. We would like to acknowledge that the land we stand upon today is the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee, and the neutral peoples. Can I get a mover and a seconder for confirmation of the agenda, please? Moved by Councilor Wilby, second by Councilor Fisher. All those in favor? And motion carries. Is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest from any member of council this evening with tonight's agenda? Councilor Morrison.
6.7, the Brussels Lands Club are mentioned about accounts payable listings, and we were that organization.
Thank you very much. Can I get a mover and a seconder for minutes of the previous meeting of September 23rd, 2025? Moved by Councilor Dalton, second by Councilor Morrison. Any comments or questions on those minutes, Councilor Raytran? Or Chartran, sorry, Ray.
All I'm gonna say is when you asked for any conflict of interest, Councilor McGrath had his hand up. You didn't see him.
I apologize, Larry.
No need to apologize.
Okay.
Being this council.
Okay,
Okay. I was gonna tell you when we got there anyways.
thank you. All those in favor of the passing the minutes? Motion carries. We have a number of items listed under the consent agenda. Is there anything that anybody would like to have pulled at this point? Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If I can just comment on 6.1 and 6.2, that's all. Both of them were good reports. Thank you, Sean, for doing that. As 6.1, I had been brought as a concern as the grading of the roads and the crown in the road. So Sean actually took the time to explain to me how roads are prepped, managed, and finished, and how something as simple as a good rain can make all the difference in the world. I just want to thank Sean for taking that time and explaining to me. And at some point in time, if you live on a gravel road or anywhere near, have a conversation with him. He can teach you a lot. So I feel better informed now that I can talk to some people, ratepayers, if they have concerns about that. So thank you for allowing me to do that.
Not a problem. Is there any other item, Councillor Fisher?
Please, Mr. Mayor, thank you, Mr. Mayor. If you or Deputy Mayor or CAO could explain to me those two items about recycling, because I listened to them twice and I'm more confused than if I had not listened. I hope I'm the only one, but I just, they didn't make any sense. It sounds like they're going to recycle less. Is that?
I think that's what the deputy mayor explained to us at the last council meeting, but I could ask him to give a little recap again of what is going on there.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, Councillor Fisher. Basically, that's what's going to happen, is they're going to actually recycle less. The pros, the ones responsible, producer responsible organizations, feel that they're taking on too many recyclables. So they're going to pull out of the ICI, which is the small industrial, commercial, and institutional recycling bins. So that will now have to be paid by the individual businesses rather than being picked up with the regular recyclables. I was just going to point out, I was just going to read from the Blue Water Recycling letter that I got, and I think maybe administration got it as well. Michelle, our president, said a couple notes here. So there'll have to be separate collection trucks will be used to service the ICI wheelie bins, independent from residential recycling routes. Red lids will be installed on the ICI wheelie bins so they can easily be distinguished from residential bins. Collection days and frequency of ICI recycling may change. We will be working through these adjustments over the next month. Site visits between now and the end of December, our team will visit all ICI locations to swap lids and confirm updated collection schedules with businesses. And of course, there will be pricing attached to that as well, that we will be billed either through Blue Water Recycling through the municipality, and then we will probably put it on our taxes out to them businesses. So whether that helps or not, there's a word for it that seems to be, would describe it well, but
It's vulgar though, probably.
pardon me.
It might be vulgar.
Yes, we're working through it the best we can, but yes, it is totally mixed up, and we feel a lot of the ICI, rather than recycling or pay to have it recycled, yes, you're nodding your head, you know.
Put it in the,
recyclables
put it in the dumpster and
Are going
goodbye.
to go, so that's been our concern, that's the message we've been trying to get across to the ministry. But this is where we're at.
So then, that being, all that being said, Mr. Mayor, is there anything we could send to, whatever ministry it is expressing our concerns?
We can send a letter out. I'm gonna suggest that, this may be something worthwhile for having a delegation at Roma. And whether it's Ministry of the Environment or whichever ministry would be the appropriate, person to visit. But having a face-to-face with the minister for 15 minutes and explaining our concerns about the fact that what's the sense in doing recycling if you're now changing the rules so that more people are just gonna put stuff in the garbage? I think that face-to-face would do a lot more than sending a letter at this time, but if you wanna send a letter also, we'd certainly do that.
Yeah, I didn't know if if the county or any other municipalities were gonna do anything along the same lines or not, if we could
I don't recall.
strengthen numbers, whatever.
Yes, well, I know, Blue Recycling did send a letter to each individual municipality. We supported it here as well and forwarded on, and we can, like, anything we can do, certainly, it's worth a try, but that's kind of where we're at. If, producers seem to have a lot of power at this point here, and I think there's a number that the province has given them through recycling. And once they hit that number, they don't want any more than that, right? So, and they're not gonna be looking for any more. Which in my mind is not the right message we're trying to send. It should be, the more recyclable we can do, the better.
And hopefully the economy is gonna grow, et cetera, and there'll be more to recycle.
Well, and actually, the original concept was that the producers were paying for the recycling. That they would minimize the amount of packaging on things so that we had less to recycle.
That was my thoughts too, yeah.
Yeah, but if they haven't done that and now they've got a cap on it, they have no incentive anymore to make the packaging less.
So just think about the other industries that the government's been in bed with, eh? Anyway, okay, thank you.
Would you like to make a motion asking that we, try and have a delegation at the Roma conference?
Yes, please.
Okay, do I have a seconder for that, Deputy Mayor? Any comments or questions? All those in favor? Okay, staff will look into that and see what we can arrange. Councilor Sharp.
And a question to the deputy mayor, so the way you explained it, that it affects commercial businesses. There's no change to the households. What about new homes being built?
From what I read and from what I understand, no, they're grandfathering them into,
Okay, cause I had heard originally that any new homes from here on in
yes,
wouldn't be part of the program, or you'd have to pay
yes.
more than what we currently pay for our bins.
Right now, I wouldn't wanna say if you built 10-story apartment building, you know, but certainly I think right now, like 1s and 2s and stuff like that will be grandfathered in, but I will make sure right about that and find that and get back to you on that.
Okay, thanks.
Anything else that anybody would like to have conversation about? Pull from the agenda. Seeing none, can I get a mover and a seconder? Councillor Chartrand and Councillor Newell. That the consent agenda, items 6.1 to 6.14 that have not been discussed be received for information and approved. All those in favor? And motion carries. At this time, we're at public meetings, hearings, and delegations. The first one is a presentation from Brad Quisenberry. I hope I got that right, or at least close. How you doing, Brad?
Good, how are you?
I just want to comment before Brad comes up and makes any comments and does the presentation. I was asked last Thursday to go to the ball diamond on Friday night because I was told that they were actually doing one as a dedication that was going to be for the Brussels ball diamond. Staff put some words together for me. It was very good. I got there and Cleats for Beats had 4 AEDs that are being put in different locations throughout here in East at recreation facilities. So this is quite a donation. And it's important, and Brad had some really good words that night that explained their motivation and what they're trying to accomplish. And Brad, if you want to come forward for a second and share with council.
All right. So I brought Doug McDonald back, as you already know him, and his fiancee Jill. This time I did write something up, so I don't on here and get made fun of by everybody that watched it. So I'll start reading. Good evening and thank you for having us back tonight. We're pleased to share that our weekend of ball went extremely well. And we couldn't have asked for better weather. Our food truck raised a great amount of money for Seaforth Junior Broom Ball, helping them prepare for their upcoming tournament in December. As mentioned before, we were also able to put funds, time, and materials back into our local ball diamonds, even before this tournament began. We're still in the process of winding down and gathering all of our numbers, but thanks to all of you and everybody involved, we can proudly say that this weekend was a great success. On to the reason that we're here tonight. Just 1 week before opening day, we received incredible news that another group had stepped up with an AED donation. That would make 4 on the weekend. Wanting to stay true to our goal of helping to equip Huron East with AEDs, we felt that Brussels Main Diamond was the perfect next location. As I live in Brussels myself, I knew that the diamonds were maintained by the municipality and not by a service club like the other 3 were. So then we had to reach out to the municipality again. We would like to thank Mayor McClellan for showing up on Friday night at the ballpark, accepting the AED and part of our large ceremony that we had. However, as requested, and we also felt it was more fitting, we're here tonight to officially present this AED to Lisa Berard, Director of Community Services. So, yes, there's the AED. This AED is donated in the name of North Huron Wingham Station Fire Captain Keith DeVries. Captain DeVries retired from duty on December 31st, 2009, after 44 years of dedicated service as a district captain. He passed away November 19th, 2015, and was honored as an on-duty death. This donation was made possible by the Huron Perth Junior Farmers, who generously provided the funds to purchase our portion of this AED. So when I said our portion of the AED, I'm gonna read it so that I don't butcher it. We're truly honored to make this donation in partners with the Dave Munsey Memorial Fund. From the very beginning, the DMMF and its members believed in what we were doing, and they didn't just support our idea, they stood beside us, guided us and helped us from the simple vision into something that continues to make a real difference in our communities. When we started out, our goal was simple: to make our diamonds and gathering spaces a little safer. One AED at a time. What we didn't expect was the amount of support and kindness and belief that would surround us along the way. The DMMF took our efforts and gave them purpose beyond what we could ever imagine. Their dedication to honoring fallen heroes while protecting lives of others is something truly special and something that we're proud to be a part of ourselves. As we stand here tonight, handing over this AED in the name of Fire Captain Keith DeVries, we're reminded of the power of community, remembrance, and teamwork. Every AED placed and every name remembered, and every dollar raised tells a story out of service, compassion, and people coming together for the greater good. To everybody who supported us, our sponsors, volunteers, players, families, and friends, thank you. This isn't just another donation. It's a symbol of what happens when people care enough to act, to give, and to keep the memory of service alive. Thank you.
Brad, thank you very much. So, go ahead, Lisa.
So on behalf of the municipality of Huron East, and our community, I want to express sincere gratitude to your fundraising efforts in securing an AED machine for the Brussels Baseball Diamond. Your dedication to improving the safety and well-being of our community and members is truly commendable. And this AED will be a critical asset in ensuring that our baseball diamond remains a safe environment for everyone. This equipment can be the difference between life and death, and your contribution will have a lasting impact. So once again, Brad and Please for Beats, thank you for your generosity and your commitment to our communities. And we are truly fortunate that your organization reached out to us, the municipality of Huron East, and we hope that you continue your efforts to benefit our communities as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great work.
It's our pleasure to do this.
So Brad, not only on behalf of the council, but all the residents of Huron East, we really appreciate your forward thinking and getting these devices out there. I want to share a conversation that I kind of overheard Brad with on Friday night. So if anybody can put their thinking caps on, one concern is going to be is that our diamonds, we don't have them all fenced up and locked up and everything else. We also don't want a gift like this to be abused or damaged or stolen. So if somebody can come up with some sort of method that we can protect the device, but make sure it's always accessible anytime somebody needs it on site. If you've got a suggestion or you've seen that something's been done someplace else that works out well, please share that information, because that is really important. It'd be a shame to see something happen to a gift that's donated like this, that's meant to save lives, and have someone vandalize it. Anyways, thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much. Yeah, if you have any ideas that we could use, it would be greatly appreciated. We do have a couple ideas. We're just running them by the Dave Munsey Memorial Fund. They're gonna help us to see the legalities behind keeping these behind a lockbox that has a keypad. At this time, we're not sure if that's going to be able to happen. But there's gotta be something out there that can protect these, but also be opened up in the time of need.
Right. Exactly. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next delegation for this evening is Seabach and Associates, Chartered Accountants with the 2024 financial statements. Welcome.
Thank you, nice to be here. You probably never ever want to see me twice in 1 year, but
Let's catch up.
we were challenged, and so congrats to Denise. We did do a quick turnaround. I think we were here second week of September, and now we're here, so
Yeah.
thank you very much. Our report's similar to the previous ones. There's a full audited financial statements that are forwarded to the ministry. And then we've done a 2-page summary that just has a little more information. One thing, the statements are somewhat consolidated, so you still have a share of the Mid-Huron landfill site, 23%, in the recycling board. And that adds, when you look at it, your share of their balance sheet is 1.2 million in cash. Also adds to your landfill closure responsibility and 1.3 million to reserves. So that's just something to look at. Last year when I was here, you had a large surplus, 7.1 million for 2023. This year it's 2.7 million, 2.8 million. The biggest difference there is when you receive a capital grant, the way the accounting is, that's taken into income. So in 2023, you received 3,665,000 grant for the Brussels gray upgrade. So that was shown as income. So the $4.3 million difference, that accounts for a large percentage of it. So that's why that 1 year is a little high, and this is more back to the norm. You know, it's similar to what Denise has in her report. We try to explain, you know, why our statements are presented a little different than how you would your budget. Your budget's more on a cash basis. For example, you spend 6.4 million on capital. You have to raise that either through taxes, reserves, or financing, where we don't, we just depreciate that over a number of years. So right there, that's a difference of 3.2 million. You have, luckily, you're fortunately, you added 2.7 million to your reserves during the year. We show reserves in our statements, but we don't subtract that as an expense. So that's another difference. And this year it's really relevant when you show financing, when you do your budget, that financing is considered as income. So you take a loan out. We don't show that as expense. We just show the interest being as an expense. So during the year, you did get a new loan, $600,000 for fire equipment. And as in Denise's report, you spent over $1 million on the Brussels fire hall upgrade, and that wasn't financed till 2025.
Yeah, after these statements, yeah.
Yeah, so then that, when you look at Denise's report, there's a, you know, her report as in detail as was requested, a $1.3 million deficit, but over $1 million of that is unfinanced capital projects, so. A bit wordy there, but that's trying to explain why, you know, your ratepayers look at your statements, 2.8 million surplus. You know, when you look at it more on your budget, it's a lot more realistic. At the end of the year, you had 3.1 million in debt. There were, you took out a loan for 600,000 for fire equipment. I've spoken about the $1 million that will be added later for the upgrades at the Brussels Hall. What also is positive, reserve funds were up 2.7 million to 16.1 million from last year's 13.3. It's just to be aware though of that reserves to 16 million, 8.6 is for water and sewer reserves, and 1.3 is your share of the mid-Huron landfill reserve. You also at the end of the year, you didn't spend all your gas tax money, so as unspent deferred liability, you get almost $2 million in gas tax funding that hadn't been spent in 2024 and would be spent probably this year. So when you look at the first page of the 2-page report, it's basically the balance statement. The first thing you might notice is your bank is down from 3.8 to 2.3. A big reason of that is your receivables are higher. So when your receivables are higher, you don't have that cash in your bank, and it'll come, you know, during the year. Your investments are lower. You took out $1 million out of your high interest savings account to finance projects. So you ended up with 17.4 million of current assets last year, 18.6. Payables quite a bit lower this year. Last year they were 3.8, this year 2.7. A lot of the payables last year were holdbacks for the Brussels upgrade, so that's why your payables are more back to what they had been. Deferred revenues, 56,000. That's a Trillium grant for Vanastra. 2.4 in other deferred revenue. That's the $2 million in gas tax. Municipal debt, we talked about that, 3.1 million. And the asset retirement obligation, that was a new term last year, and that's basically how much money you need now to look after your landfill sites in the future. Landfill sites you operate, Morris and Walton, and some of the other buildings are 2.5 or 2.5 million, and the rest of them are. So 13.9 million current liabilities. And your net financial assets are 3.5 million. They're a little lower than last year from 4.3, but you basically, with all your capital projects, you turn cash and investments into fixed assets, which are below that line. The next statement is your income statement, and I won't go through everything. You know, you're fortunate as a municipality, your own grant stayed steady. 1.1 million, 5 years ago, 1.1, so that's been, a lot of municipalities have seen a decrease. The gas tax, you did spend a little bit, 264. The OCF, that's Ontario Community Infrastructure grant, 1 million, that's for roads. The county of Huron kind of stands out, the daycare, 147,000, that was for capital expenditure, so that's why it's up to 725. Other government grants, some of that's economic development, drainage, superintendent, and recoveries from other municipalities. You come down to user fees are pretty consistent. Other income, the last couple of years, interest rates are higher, so you've been lucky to get $743,000 in interest. So that brings your total revenue to 23.6 million, a little higher than that was budgeted. Part of that's interest and some grants. Your expenses, one thing that stands out this year is your municipal drains, $1 million. That's drains are kind of on a cash basis where you spend the money, their expense, and then you recover it from the users when it's allocated. So at the end of the year, there was quite a few drains that hadn't been allocated, so that should balance out. So when you come down to your total expenditures, 20.8 million, and that comes back to your surplus of 2.7 million. And as I said last year, 7.1, but a lot of that was the infrastructure grant from the Brussels Arena, 3.6 million. As far as the statements, they basically have the same numbers. It's a clean audit report that's shown in our auditor's report. If you go to the consolidated statement of operations, it shows the 2.7 million. That's the same as the power report. There's a schedule, statement of cash flow, which explains why the bank went from 3.8 to 2.2. A lot of that's an increase in receivables and a decrease in payables. There's a statement about your investments, what's in the money market fund and what's in the bond fund, and what the fair market values are. There's a statement, note number 8, discusses your debt situation and shows the new loan of 590,000 started at 600 and paid down 10,000. There's also note number 9 talks about the asset retirement obligation, which is trying to project how much money you need today to fund your landfill closure. And the last thing I might mention is there's a statement of reserves that states the 16.1 million, it's up 2.7. And it shows environmental services 9.9, that's your water and sewer, and your landfill site portion. So those are items that can't be spent for municipal item or things. And also shows the deferred revenue schedule and the federal gas tax funds of $2 million that can be spent this year. Does anyone have any questions about the financial statements or?
Any questions from council? No, actually, your opening statements answered the questions that I had, so that was pretty good for me, but, all right. Thank you very much for your presentation.
I probably won't be back for another year.
No, actually, we'd like you to come back a little sooner and get them done up quick. Okay, can I get a mover and a seconder to receive the audited report? Moved by Councillor Wilby, second by Councillor Chartrand, that the council of the municipality of Huron East acknowledge the report. Oh, hang on, I'm on the wrong
I
spot
think
here.
we'll do that when we get down to the census report.
Okay, all right.
Mhm.
So there is no need for a motion at this
No.
point then. All right, thank you. Then we will move to planning and planning report C37 of 2025, Van Miltenberg. Welcome, Shay.
Thank you, Mayor. So just a brief presentation on consent application C37, 2025. So the location of the subject property is throughout 3082 Morrison Line. The applicant is John McKercher from Martin McKercher's office, and the owner is John Arnold Van Lettenberg. Just give it a second. Go to the next slide. So purpose of the application here is for the recreation of an original barn parcel. The land to be severed are approximately 192 acres, which contain an existing house, scale house, shed, and 4 barns. And the proposed lands to be retained are about 100 acres in size, consistent of vacant agricultural land. So just aerial photo of the subject property here. To the north is the 190 acre severed parcel, which contains some livestock farms. And then to the south, there is the 100 acre retained parcel. Subject properties are zoned general agriculture in the Huron special plan and designated agriculture, natural environment, and extractive resources in the official plan. And the extractive resources designations just a small little portion to the east of the property here. Next slide, please. So this application is subject to the policies, agricultural consent policies in the Huron special plan, which requires or permits creation of new farm lots provided they're sized appropriately for agricultural uses and meet the minimum farm size of 95 acres. So in this case, the configuration results in two abutting parcels that are the same size as they were prior to inadvertently merging on title. And both parcels will exceed the minimum farm size that's listed in the official plan. No concerns were received from staff, public, or other agencies on this application. Next slide, please. And on the screen here is a little bit hard to see is the separate sketch provided by the applicant. So just detailing on the right there, the location of the existing livestock barns and the size of the proposed severed parcel. So the severed parcel to the north there contains 3 livestock barns that are currently used for a cattle operation. And then the one barn towards the south of the severed lands is currently vacant. Both parcels are sized for suitable agricultural operations and there's no changes proposed to the current operations here. Next slide, please. So just some photos of the existing barn on the left there and the existing house on the severed parcel. Next slide. And then here we're looking at the currently vacant livestock barn, which is also on the severed parcel. And that's looking towards behind that barn there would be the retained vacant farmland. And next slide. As the application is consistent with the provincial planning statement and conforms with the Huron County and Huron East official plans and complies with the Huron East bylaw, and as such is recommended for approval with the attached recommended conditions. Different questions on that.
Any questions of staff? Shay, I just had one, and it seemed odd to do the notch out for the bush. Why wouldn't it just be a rectangular lot and bush go with the park?
Thank you, Mayor. So that was the orientation that was previously there. So I don't exactly know what the history was as far as that being part of the abutting lands to the east there.
So the notch out was never part of the farm then?
Not at least prior to the merging
Okay.
of the 2 parcels here.
Okay.
So it would have been some historic.
Deputy Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to Shane. Shane, did you mention these vacant buildings? Are they going to stay? Do they cause a problem in the future? Are they going to be used? You know?
So as far as I know, they're just kind of surplus to the cattle operation that they've got going on. I think if the operation continues to grow, they would occupy those buildings again. I did run a preliminary MDS just to see if we've got any building envelope potential for the retained parcel to the south. And with the current capacity of the barns, there is a suitable location kind of further back. But the south parcel would not be sterilized by that operation.
Okay, thank you. That's all I was wondering. Thank you.
Councillor Fisher?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, to Shay. Excuse me, Shay, these, both these applications, there's gonna be a vacant 95 and a vacant 100 acres with no buildings. If they were to sell those properties, would the purchaser be able to build a home on those properties? Or are they AG2?
No, so the zoning would be AG1, so general agriculture for both parcels. So as I mentioned, this, as long as they can meet the minimum distance separation to the existing barns, they would be permitted to have their one residence per lot.
Thank you.
After severance.
Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, can I get a mover and a seconder for approval of the presentation? Moved by Councillor Dalton, second by Deputy Mayor, that the Council of the Municipality of Huron East acknowledge the report of Huron County Planner Shay Stahl dated October 7, 2025, and has no objection to consent application C 37 of 2025, provided the conditions as outlined in the planning report are met. All those in favor? And motion carries. We'll go to planning report C 38 of 2025.
Thank you. So this application applies to 84411 McDonald Line. Applicant again is John McCurcher from Murray McCurcher's office. And the owner is John and Mary Perry. Slide. So similar to the last one, another recreation of parcels. In this case, the severed land is about 96 acres of vacant agricultural land. And the retained land is about 100 acres of agricultural land, which contains an existing house, shop, 3 barns and 2 silos. So just an aerial photo of the proposed severance here. So the blue outline to the north is the proposed severed parcel, currently vacant agriculture, and then to the south is the proposed retained lands. And the close-up on the left shows the details of the existing buildings and infrastructure there. So again, properties are zoned AG1, and there's some natural environment zoning along the river here. Properties are designated agriculture and natural environment in the official plan. And again, subject to the same agricultural consent policies, required to meet the minimum lot requirements and maintain flexibility for agricultural use. And no concerns received from staff, agencies or members of the public on this. And then I've got the severance sketch provided by the applicant, so just shows a little bit more detail of those existing silos, barns, and the house on the retained parcel. And next slide, just a photo of the severed land, so that's lying north towards the severed there, and next slide. And then just a couple of photos of the existing buildings and infrastructure on the retained parcel. And again, no changes proposed to the existing operation. And both parcels maintain the minimum lot size requirements of the official plan. So consistent with the provincial policy statement, conforms to the Huron East and Huron County official plans and complies with the Huron East zoning bylaw. So this application is also recommended for approval with the attached conditions.
Any questions of council on this application? Seeing none, can I get a mover and a seconder? Moved by Deputy Mayor, second by Councillor Chartrand. That the Council of the Municipality of Huron East acknowledge the report of Huron County Planner Shay Stahl dated October 7, 2025, and has no objection to consent application C 38 of 2025, provided the conditions as outlined in the planning report are met. All those in favor? And motion carries. Thanks, Shay. We are down to municipal drains. There is a municipal drain status update. It was for information purposes, but if you have any questions, they can be passed on. Any questions from council? Seeing none. Reports and recommendations of municipal officers and their financial statements. Is this Denise or is this
It's a follow-up report from the presentation you just received from CBOC. So if you have any questions for Denise, you may, but it's pretty much accepting the financial statements and transfers as explained in the report.
any questions of council at this time? Councillor Chartrand?
Yeah, Mr. Seabock talked about the $2 million of gas tax that we never used. So the gas tax, are they only used for bridges and roads?
Yeah, infrastructure, yes, yeah, like that, yeah.
So You didn't have any plans to use that money in 2024?
So all we used it for in 2024 was there was two bridge projects, I believe M28 and M13. So we did use it for that. And the way the federal gas tax works is that you have 5 years to use the funding.
Okay,
So we had to make sure that we used what in 2024, what we got in 2019. And so if you don't use it, you can collect it.
that
for a
was the
certain-
question, how far can you defer out each year before it's 5 years grant? Thanks.
Counselor Fisher.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, to Denise, I didn't hear anything mentioned about unrestricted cash. Do we have any unrestricted cash?
Yeah, so like your working capital reserve that you have, is unrestricted, and the only ones that are restricted as, Seabox said was kind of those wastewater ones. There are some that are designated, they've been labeled as recreation or waste management and those sorts of things, but they aren't, restricted, based on kind of how you've legislated them, yeah.
So how much do we have?
So-
Unrestricted, please.
There is like about 16.1 million in total, and about 9 of that is restricted for the water and wastewater. So
I think-
about, yeah.
I think 9.9 was restricted. I'm basing it on Steve-Ox's report tonight.
Yeah.
There was two numbers, you put them together, and it came to about 9.9, so about 6 million, Bob.
And that goes for heat hydro taxes or everyday expenses. Is that where that goes?
It goes wherever council directs it.
I'm okay, I'm missing something. All right, thank you.
Do you want clarification on something,
No,
Bob?
I like to have, so we have $6 million sitting in GICs.
No.
No, no, it's restricted.
No, so a couple of things that kind of have happened that make these unrestricted cash look a little different than, say, our bank account. The Russell subdivision was kind of paid upfront by the municipality, is taking time to be paid back with the sales of the lots. And for example, the Russell's Fire Hall expansion with EMS, same thing, has been funded by cash. We're taking time to get that debenture to set up that agreement with Huron County. So it's kind of why some of what we have labeled as unrestricted on paper doesn't necessarily match the bank completely.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Can I get a mover and a seconder to receive the information? Moved by Councillor Stepler, second by Councillor Newell. The council of, let's see, that the council of the municipality of Huron East approved the draft 2024 financial statements, and that the council of the municipality of Huron East approved the transfer of the 2024 deficit of $1,349,061 to be funded from the capital, from the working capital reserve, and that the council of the municipality of Huron East approved the transfer of the fire hall expansion debenture to be moved into the working capital reserve once acquired. Any final comments or questions? All those in favor? Motion carries. And 10.2, communications plan.
So staff have been developing the corporate communications plan as a way to enhance our transparency and accountability to how we respond or communicate with internal and external customers or stakeholders. So it covers how we should be responding to emails, our timeliness of emails and responses, for instance, how we can increase our engagement with our community, opportunities for input, and making a more proactive approach to our communication opposed to a reactive approach. So getting information out there as much as we can in a more timely manner ahead of something coming up. So it's just acts as a guideline that the public can see, as well as our internally we can be guided by. It was developed in-house by staff, and using the resources that are in the plan, so nothing, no financial impact to it, just using our resources we have, but just detailing for all those what our communication strategy looks like.
I just want to share one other thing. If any of the council members are doing some sort of presentation someplace, in the last few months, whether it was Megan or whether it was Stacy, if I've requested help with, putting a message together, you can ask them it to be as long or as short as you're looking for. And sometimes I say I want 2 paragraphs and sometimes I get 2 pages, but, they do a great job on it. And, I remember the night I did the, opening for, the Seaforth Homecoming. It was almost 2 pages long, but there was a lot of things to talk about at that point, and the different service groups and the things that were going on and everything else. And I had people afterwards tell me that it was the only one worth listening to. No, I'm not giving a hard time to everybody else up there, but sometimes you get into a rut in when you do all these openings, you just kind of have the same things that you say over and over. They did a great job of putting messaging together, and I'm gonna say if you've ever got the opportunity, or whoever sits in this seat after I'm gone, use their services because they do a great job and it really works well. So thanks to staff for that. Can I get a mover and a seconder to accept the communication plan? Councillor Morrison and Councillor Dalton. That the Council of the Municipality of Huron East adopt the corporate communications plan and strategy as presented in report CAO 2524. All those in favor? Motion carries. Okay, I have nothing else now down until council reports, so I'll turn to the deputy mayor for county council.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So our last meeting, Gary Wallace, she presented a report on the community efficiency financing fund application for residential energy efficiency retrofit feasibility program. Huron East has already supported this, so it's moved on then. Denise Van Embersfoot reported on promotion of new housing options. Some of the ones she discussed was additional residential units, the use of infill in villages and repurposing buildings. It just prevents the rural creep in, or sort of creep into the rural areas by utilizing some of the buildings that are already there. Denise also reported on options for exhausted mineral aggregate operations, gravel pits. I guess you could say our county council is gravel pit curious. So some of the options she came up with is like recreation options. There's a lot of that around Clinton area, on-farm businesses like wineries, for instance, and also to rehabilitate it back to farmland. So that was some of the things we touched on. Each month we get a report on different items being donated to the Huron County Museum. A couple things I thought were of interest. They actually come from Seaforth. I'll just read them quickly. Coleman implemented from Coleman's Foundry and Machine Shop that was built in the early 1870s near the 3 salt works here in Seaforth. They made farm implements. Coleman and Goonlock Salt Works, or Seaforth Salt Works, was one of the 3 salt work businesses here in Seaforth after 1868. The salt businesses created a need for other businesses such as sawmills, shops, and factories as well. Also, another thing that was donated to the museum was the Seaforth Monopoly style game produced in 1991, sorry, with local Seaforth businesses. There's also 3 pewter pins depicting Seaforth buildings like the North Side United Church, Seaforth Foley Institute, and the Seaforth Town Hall. And another thing that was donated to is a milk bottle from the Maple Leaf Dairy here in Seaforth, and a small Seaforth Creamery milk bottle as decoration, and a Seaforth Old Boys Reunion hat from 1955. So I thought they were interesting there. That some stuff was donated from Seaforth, so it's everything I have.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Are there any other boards, committees, meetings, or seminars anybody attended that they would like to share information with? Deputy Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to report that we're bringing back our annual turkey supper in downtown Ethel on November the 2nd. And I said to the committee that if we don't raise it to $25 per adult, Bob Fisher will not come. So we raised it to 25, so. We have adults and youth and as well, so if anybody's interested in tickets, I will have some tickets at our next meeting.
Are there any requests by members at this time? Counselor Stepler.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Chief Ackerman, I've been chatting back and forth today. I'd like to request a report back from the fire staff on the Seaport ladder truck. It currently, I've been talking, if there's a service now, that I remember dealing back in August of, well, must have been 2024 when we bought the truck, just the, we had to make a decision in one night, just different things. So I'd like a bit of history of this, where the truck is, how much it's cost to repair, and just, the usage for that vehicle, if you would, please. Just wanna definitely add that email this morning to excellent response, and just thank you for that.
Okay, so this is a request for a report from staff.
Correct, for.
Okay, moved by Counselor Stepler. Do I have a second by Counselor Fisher? All those in favor? And motion carries. Haven't put a timeline on. I'm expecting it'll be in the next meeting or the meeting after that, Glenn. Okay, thank you very much for that. Counselor Fisher.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would request that we get a report on Vern's Pub and Grill, where that's at, or if it's at anywhere, and the Hartford property out on the corner of Highway 8 and Roxborough, if anything can be done there to improve or level or do something with the eyesore. Thank you.
Okay, so.
No timeline, whenever staff could, please.
Okay, so request for report on those two properties moved by Counselor Fisher, second by Counselor Chartrand. All those in favor? Motion carries. Counselor Newell, you had something.
Yes, through you to Fire Chief Ackerman. Just wondering where we're at with the provincially mandated training that is coming up in July. Just wonder if we could get an update or a report, whichever works for you, just to see where we're at with our training for firefighters.
Yeah, so I'd love to give you a report right now, and then go into more detail in the third quarter report. So to the mayor and all the council, I'm very happy to report that in August or in September there, and in late August, all our firefighters, or pretty well all our firefighters, 33 wrote their exams for firefighter 1. And out of those 33, 31 of them passed. So we have, and then a couple have written since then. We're still waiting back for the results, but we only have 3 firefighters right now that need to rewrite for firefighter 1. So we're in excellent shape. We're near, let's say, about 90, almost 95% of the department is certified in firefighter 1 now. We're working away at firefighter 2, and we have a testing date set for December 6th, in which we're hoping to have a successful result again on firefighter 2, and then moving into 2026, we'll just have just a few odds and ends to clean up on certification, and departments in what I would consider right now is in very good shape.
Thank you. Very good information. Are there any notices of motion at this time? Seeing none. Any announcements? Councilor Newell.
I just wanted to comment on the efforts that staff have made with their regards to our logo and our branding and our photography and images and signs entering into our communities. I think it really shows well, and it shows up as part of our communications plan as well, but hats off to everyone that's been involved in sprucing Huron East up.
Okay, thank you very much for those comments. Is there any other business? I see nothing listed here, no bylaws. We do have a closed session this evening. Can I get a mover and a seconder to go into close? Moved by Councilor Wilby, second by Councilor Stepler, that a closed meeting of council be held on Tuesday, October 7th, 2025 at 6:54 p.m. in the Town Hall Council Chambers in accordance with Section 239 of the Municipal Act 2001 for the purpose of the following matters. 16.1 is adoption of the September 18, 2025 closed session of council meeting minutes. And 16.2 under section 239, paragraph 2, subsection D, labor relations or employee negotiations, and it's a verbal discussion, and that the CAO Jessica Brody remain in the closed session. All those in favor? Motion carries.